Hands off our homes. That's the message angry residents are sending to the government over plans to take their land. And these cranky constituents aren't leaving quietly.
Do you think the government is treating residents like you fairly?
No. They treat it like
It's just not right. But it's happening, and it's happening to us.
You think that you live in Australia and it's a really fair country. This can literally happen to anyone.
How would the minister feel if this was happening to her?
In the middle of 30 acres of peaceful paddock, 40 minutes from Melbourne, sits the Fioriti home. More than 3 decades ago, Margaret and her husband bought the land at Deanside and built a house to live their own version of the Australian dream, raising eldest daughter Bianca and their 3 other kids.
Sounds like fun.
It was pretty fun.
The Fioritis are a close-knit clan trying to put on brave faces, but that's not easy at the moment as the Victorian government closes in on taking away years of family memories.
It's very stressful. It's affecting our mental health and physical health, not just us, it's all the residents in this area, just because we don't know what's going on.
The Fioritis are among 8 homeowners in the firing line when the government announced plans to go ahead with a 500-acre Cororoy Creek Regional Park. Local families shocked to see big parts of their property marked for compulsory acquisition to make the park possible. What sort of communication have you had from government?
No one's ever come here. We just can't get through to anybody.
As Bianca began a Fair Go Deanside campaign to stand up for residents, the situation got murkier. Nearby land is sold for top dollar to developers recently, but the Fioritis discovered that wasn't going to happen to them, as 10 years ago the government quietly rezoned their property.
They put a conservation overlay on our property. Basically, there are a lot of restrictions around like what you can and can't do with that overlay. It's been a very sneaky rezoning of the property in order to, compulsory acquire it if they wanted to do that.
The market value of their land is now much lower, opening the door for the government to offer them a price far below what they hoped for when they invested everything they had into the land all those years ago.
My husband and I are in our 60s. We want to retire, but we can't because we just don't know what's going to happen financially. We don't know what's happening. And, and it's not just that, they've taken it away from our children. This is our children's future.
And according to the proposed park map, the government plans to take a big chunk.
You'll see that the park literally just cuts through the backyard.
Margaret and Bianca's place currently finishes at the road beyond the tree line where you can see the flowing traffic. The park plans will slice that back by 85%. Where does the government want the new border to be on your property?
Round about here. That's it.
Basically here.
Half of the backyard, correct.
From the air, you can see how much they stand to lose. And it's not as if the planned park is a place of great natural beauty. Apart from a creek, it's mainly paddocks of grass and weeds. But the plan is to spend millions revegetating the area.
This park is the size of 100 AFL ovals, so it's a huge park. And if you took out the 8 residents, it honestly wouldn't make that much difference to the park, but it would make a big difference to the lives of the people who live here.
It's also claimed the park will provide important habitat for the growling grass frog, a neighbour Margaret has never met.
I've never seen one in all those years. And that's the honest truth. I have never seen a frog on our property.
One neighbour she is familiar with is horse lover Marcel Galea, who's also lived on his nearby property for 30 years and is in line for compulsory acquisition.
we had nightmares. We can't even sleep day and night thinking what's going to happen to us here. That's what they done to us.
Marcel has his suspicions about the government's plan. What do you think of the government trying to turn this property into a park?
It's not into a park. They're gonna buy it, they're gonna steal it from us, they leave it for 10 years and they sell it again.
For the record, Marcel has plenty of animals on his land, but he hasn't seen the frog either.
I don't know where they see it from because I never see any one of them come around the creek.
This has become a growth area in recent years, and you can see on land just beyond Marcel's paddocks, the government has approved for developers to build new houses for new buyers. So why is it that long-term residents like Marcel, Bianca and Margaret are being put under pressure to give up their holdings to make way for the park. In August, then Victorian Planning Minister Lily D'Ambrosio told Parliament, "I have asked my department to contact all landowners impacted by the Cororoit Creek Regional Park. The Fioritis are still waiting."
No one's communicating with us. We just can't get through to anybody. And really, they should be communicating with us.
Labor MP Sonia Kilkenny is now Victoria's Planning Minister, but communication with locals hasn't picked up. As for the Fioritis, they want people to know their fight isn't with the park. They just want a fair price if they're forced to sell their home.
You can just take your land and pay you nothing for it. And they can get away with it, or they think.
The Victorian Government says the parkland will provide green space for the growing community and protect endangered animals and plants. It also claims homeowners will be fairly compensated. Their full statement is on our website.